Hello everybody. I haven't posted anything in ages. The reasons for which I will go through in some detail, not all detail. I will also explain that along the way. Got some things going on. Nothing horrific personally. That's all fine. Still loving life and what have you. But obviously my absence, it's not affecting my numbers for some strange reason. Apart from other YouTubers have said that there's something going on with the algorithm where they're not getting the impressions sent out as much as they usually do. Sir Sick has done a video on this. Creaky's done a video. Dan's not so much, but the Game Grumps and others have indeed said that there's something going on with YouTube where they're not killing channels, but they're reducing the coverage, which is very strange because the more popular channels you are, the more money you generate for YouTube. So what the hell is going on down there? I do not know. But anyway, that's not what I'm here for. So, firstly, an explanation why I haven't recorded. Now, I said in a post a little while ago that one of the reasons I haven't recorded because I have to use a green screen because I'm a little bit embarrassed with the room I'm in. I'm not embarrassed. I'm a little house proud, and my room is always a tip, so I have to set up a green screen. Now, because of the current situation that's going on, I didn't want to be in a situation where I had to escape the room in a hurry. I know that sounds dramatic, but it's kind of true. I did not have to escape the room in a hurry and have a green screen in the way. Now, the reason being is, now, I was going to post a link to somewhere where I'd already explained this. So basically, a couple of years ago, I've gone over this again, I'm going back and over myself. A couple of years ago, myself and my ex-wife split up. All fine, very amicable, amazingly amicable compared to some of the other situations, and I'm feeling rather blessed, for lack of a better expression, that our split did go as well and as amicably as it did. We're in a very good place and we're very, very friendly still. Very good relationship going forward. But I am now living in a HMO, which is a perfect, if you don't know what that is in America, I don't know what you'd call it. It's a house of multiple occupancies where one house has been converted into, each room is a single property. It's like a tiny apartment building, shared occupancy, something along those lines. Anyway, couple of months ago, one of the tenants, we shall call him Timothy, for that is his name, started to lose his marbles slightly. And when I say lose his marbles, it was started subtle. There's a long corridor come through the front door in my house, long corridor, doorway to the kitchen, shower rooms beyond, and it's all like shared communal space. In between the hallway and the kitchen, there's a fire extinguisher that was holding the door open. Technically not supposed to, but we did it for convenience. He became very, very obsessed with having that door closed, which is an absolute ball ache when you're getting up for pee in the middle of the night. So he kept on making sure this door was closed, and it was getting to be a little bit irksome. Anyway, then he started to patrol the house. And when I say patrol the house, he'd go in the front door, along the corridor, into the kitchen, out of the back door, around the garden, through next door's garden because it's a communal space, down the side alleyway, back out to the main road, along the front, in the back door. And then he'd flick all the light switches off and on, crunch around with the front door. If you know what a UPVC door is, it's like a composite plastic door, all reinforced and what have you, but to lock it, you pull the handle up, and there's a big locking mechanism. Anyway, this door is on the other side of the wall from where my fridge is, right beside where I'm sitting right now. And every time he does it, it echoes in my room. And he would do this at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. You get the picture. Very, very annoying. Anyway, so this kept going on and it was getting worse and worse. I saw him coming in through the back door with a laptop in his hand for some reason. Then, while I was away having a shared weekend with the boys over in the house 15 miles away, apparently he took the kitchen apart and threw water everywhere. I mean, he took the kettle apart, removed a panel off one of the worktops, took the toaster apart, threw water everywhere. So I had a phone call from my landlord at 11 o'clock in the morning saying, can we get into the room, because I've got the fuse box here, because we need to turn the power off so we can sort out the kitchen. Fine. Get back that evening and I was kind of filled in. He got arrested that evening because... No, he didn't get arrested that evening, sorry. And then, so that evening, got back to the house, all quiet, fine. I had 2 weekends over at Alderton because Annie, she swapped shifts with somebody else, so I had to cover again. That evening, it got worse. He went into the next door neighbour's back garden, stole their lawnmower, put it in our back garden, threw water over it, got all of his stuff in a bin bag. That's what else he was doing, getting all of his stuff from his room into a bin bag, put it in the back garden and throwing water over it. So anyway, it escalated and escalated and escalated. He kept getting arrested, spending the night in hospital for observation. Then he'd calm down, come out of whatever reverie he was in, and then come back to the house, and it would all start again. Anyway, so now the reason it started to get a little bit dangerous was, apart from him being amazingly intimidating, the best way to describe him is if you know Olaf, Count Olaf, from the series of unfortunate events. Lemony Snicket, I think Jim Carrey was in the movie. Imagine that character, only it's a black guy with more insane eyes, and I mean that kindly, but also chronic alcoholic. He would drink all the time. He's still drinking all the time, and he cooks at like 3 o'clock in the morning. So this is the situation I'm in. But what he'd started to do that was dangerous was he'd play around with the gas hobs on the cooker and muck around with the lighter. So this is the sudden escape thing. This is the situation we had in. So at the moment, the gas is off. So that's all good. He, however, Tim, has not been seen in the house, living in the house, since about 2 weeks. He got arrested last Wednesday. I had the police come around on Tuesday, and I got to look into his room, and it's not nice. He's basically, I don't know how he's living. Well, he's not living in there. There's so much crap on the floor. There's a path to the chest of drawers where there's a load of bottles of alcohol, and there's a path to the bed, but he's not sleeping in the bed because that bed has not been slept in. But honestly, apart from all this, he is going to be evicted because he is a nuisance. But we are trying desperately to get him committed or get him sectioned. Because he needs to be in a secure facility. He's not safe to be around other people. He's not safe to live here, and it's not safe to live in this house. There is a court case coming up on next Tuesday, Wednesday, where it'll be formally done. But saying that, he hasn't slept in this house in over a week. So that's the situation with that. It's a bit tense, but I did have a face-to-face confrontation with him last I quite literally got in his face. I am not an aggressive man. I am not a violent man, unless you listen to my mum. I'll tell you about that later. But I got into his face and I laid a few facts bare to him. He started to shut down slightly. His eyes started to flicker, which is very strange, which is either going to be a sign of he's getting violent or he's trying to shut himself down neurologically because a nasty man is shouting at him. Like I said, I wasn't shouting. So that was that. He said sorry for making so much noise, which I did appreciate, and I did tell him that. And that was basically the last time I saw him. He is, however, still milling around the area, and he's been in the back garden a couple of times. So we haven't seen him. There was a worry he was in a ditch somewhere, but at the moment he's still around. He's not in the house. He's not sleeping in the house. I don't know where he is sleeping, but it's all going to be coming up to a head soon because, like I said, we've got the court case. At that point, hopefully the council will take over and find him somewhere secure where he will be safe and away from other people because he is a danger to other people. Anyway, so that's that. That's why I have not been recording so much. I'm going to try to this week. I'm going to try to record something today, but I won't be doing it on camera. I think it's going to be gaming, but more to that later. Right, so where are we? We're 8.5 minutes, 9 minutes in. Right, so that's enough of that. Next section. Just a quick catch up. A couple of things that have been happening all over the world, or mainly England, which I'm going to mention but not dwell on. First is this raise the flags thing, where a bunch of right-wing organisations have been dog whistling the uneducated masses and convincing them to put cheaply Chinese Temu Union Jack flags halfway up lampposts and painting over mini roundabouts on any white surface. It's the most embarrassing thing I think we could do as a country, and to be cheered on while doing it. I mean, this came ahead the other day with the Unite the Country, it's Unite the White march in London last weekend, which again was an embarrassing thing to watch. They're convinced there was 3 million people. There was more like 100,000, which is a considerable number. However, there have been larger groups, larger protests and demonstrations on the opposite side of the spectrum. So whenever I see a cheaply made flag half up a lamppost, it does not fill me with national pride. It makes me feel embarrassed for the person who did it. So that's that one. Charlie Kirk / Jimmy Kimmel. I was sorely tempted, but
to do something not long after it happened with Charlie Kirk. But I thought it was too soon. There were too many unknowns. But I'm kind of glad I didn't, because what has happened since has laid bare the sickening hypocrisy of the GOP Republican Party in America. Now I'm neither. I think when you go against someone like the Conservatives, the GOP, the Republican Party in America, you're immediately branded as a lefty. I am not a lefty. I don't really have any strong political affiliation. I don't want to do anything too political because I don't want to be seen as any kind of political, I won't say activist because that's bigging myself up too much. But you only have to see what's happened with Jimmy Kimmel, and then the receipts are front and centre. You have to see Jon Stewart, Seth Meyers, even Bill Maher, all the normal commentators, Stephen Colbert, who's already in the process of being cancelled because he hurt Donald Trump's fifis. And Donald Trump himself is saying anybody who says anything nasty against me should have their licence revoked. That's North Korea. I think Bill Maher said that explicitly. We are not North Korea.
Bill, you're so good at roasting the woke nonsense peddlers. Why don't you go all the way and join us? Let me give you the short answer. Because I don't want to live in North Korea. Kim Jong-un has state stenographers who follow him everywhere and scribble his genius ideas into their notebooks and applaud. Well, Republicans, that's you now.
We are not a totalitarian dictatorship. We are not under an autocrat, even though that is exactly what Donald Trump wants to be. And I'd also just like to say that a while ago, I could post the odds anti-Trump sentiment anywhere, on any social, and I would be told I'm overreacting. I remember one of the guys I used to work with, she went off and had a baby just before COVID. She said, I like Trump, he's funny. I said, he's not funny, he's a rapist. He's a convicted sexual predator. 34 felony counts, he is a criminal. He is a sickening, disgusting human being who I wouldn't trust if he told me the time. And as for what's happening with Charlie Kirk, yes, what happened to him was sickening, disgusting, traumatising for his family and the 3,000 people in attendance. That must have been the most horrific thing to have witnessed firsthand. And when I saw the video within 7 minutes, it was up on 4chan straight away. And you know how much those scumbags love that kind of thing. However, what has been happening since with his legacy, they want to name things after him. They want to dedicate days to him. Incidentally, Charlie Kirk has got the same birthday as George Floyd. Just want to put that out there. But they're trying to say he was this bastion of free speech. If you know anything about Charlie Kirk and what he did, he was the opposite of the bastion of free speech. And some of the things he said are absolutely horrible. I'm not going to repeat them here because but by very dint of what I want to say, what the things that he said would probably get my channel demonetized or probably get my video demonetized, because me on my own, me saying those things, even if just repeating, and repeating his word apparently is enough to get you fined in America, some of the things he said would probably get me this video demonetized or my part of my channel demonetized, because they were horrid. They really were sickening things to say. And the free speech debates, many people will tell you, were anything but. Carefully orchestrated platforms for him to spout his bile and have poorly prepared 19-year-olds say their ill thought out thoughts that he can easily pick apart by shouting over them and then have the microphone taken away after 30 seconds. Yes, what happened to him was tragic. It should never have happened. But everybody, apart from the man, the father, is now gone. Everybody is now making this a political grift. They're using it to further their own agendas. And that is happening on both sides of the spectrum. Everything that happened, the act itself was sickening and devastating. Everything's happened since isn't making that any better. Right, so that's enough of that. So that's like current things. We had Donald Trump over here. The projections on the side of Windsor Castle were hilarious. I wish I'd seen him in person. But that's that for that. Right, so going forward, where are we? 15 minutes. Couple of things that's coming up in my future. Probably won't be, the reason I won't be doing, I've got a couple of operations coming up. Because I am, as my youngest son would say, am I elderly? I've got a couple of operations. I have what's known as an umbilical hernia, which in layman's terms means my intestines are trying to escape through my belly button. It's not pleasant down there, but I've got an operation coming up in just over a month, so about 4 or 5 weeks. And At some point after that, I'm having a lump cut out of my arm. This is what happens when you get old. So I'm going to have 6 weeks of recuperation after the belly button, probably a bit more recuperation after the arm. We just got to make sure one doesn't get infected before they start on the other. So that will take me to the end of November. So in the meantime, in the absence of any kind of new thing to debunk from the likes of Level Up Observer, CC, David Weiss, Eric DeBay, the usual suspect, they're just going over the same ground. They have been for quite some time. And they have nothing new to say, which is probably why I've been so uninspired to actually put, face to camera, so to speak. There's nothing I can say that hasn't already been said, and there's nothing they're saying that they haven't said already. They're just trying to reiterate the same points. As I've said before in my previous videos, the only thing they have is their own previously held beliefs. They have been debunked and disproven so many times. The only defence they have is to say it again, only louder and with more discreditation. That's Level Earth Observer's entire MO. Anyway, so in between doing operations, having medical procedures, and there being an absolute lack of inspiration, kudos to Dan and Simon, Dan and Creaky and everyone else who continues to do this week in, week out, day in, day out, especially Dan who's doing a video every day. Kudos to him. I've got nothing at the moment, so I've got no inspiration, which means I'll probably do a bit more gaming. I'll take the Sir Six said something. He says a couple of things in his lives. He has a live stream every Monday night about 9 o'clock GMT. If you feel compelled or forced to make a video, don't, because it won't be organic. It won't be natural. You'll be forcing yourselves to regurgitate things that you may not actually believe. You're just creating content. So that is why I have little to no inspiration. The mild stress, which is alleviated of the situation in this house, has probably been a party of that. So that is kind of why I haven't been doing the videos, because 1, stress, 2, lack of inspiration, and 3, I don't want to burn have to escape in a hurry should the house start being on fire. It's not as dramatic. It probably isn't as dramatic as that. It probably wasn't going to be as dramatic as that. But anyway. By the way, mental health services in this country are a joke. Our landlord, who I pay my money to, he was on the phone with mental health services because there was a certain obligation that Scott undertook. Didn't have to, my landlord, where he was trying to help Tim. He didn't want to just turf him out in the street because he's obviously going through something and we want to help him. I want to help him as much as I can, which is why I had that confrontation with him. You don't want to say just piss off and get out you on your own, go die in a ditch somewhere. I'm happy he isn't. He isn't knocking around. But we want to help. We can't just turf him out on the street and say you're on your own. He needs to be in care. So anyway, so that's that. If I do make any videos coming forward, it will probably be gaming. The most popular videos on my channel are the ones for House Party, which is if you look for it, it's a Liz Katz video, it's the DLC. I think I did the Doja Cat one. I might just do a couple of Path videos, like going through which means it will be adult content. Because it's not a kid-friendly game. It is an adult theme, sexy time, lots of computer, nudity, that kind of thing. It's funny. I like it. I like the game because it's funny. So I might do a couple, particularly the Amy thread, because there's a couple. So after I do that, probably do another peek, 1 or 2, whatever takes my fancy. I might just I'll find something to do. But again, as Sir Six says, don't feel compelled or forced, otherwise you won't enjoy making the video in the first place, which is fair enough. So up until Christmas, up until the end of this year, I doubt if I'll be putting that much content out. I will try, but unless something smacks you in your face and I really want to get something out there, I'll probably just do stuff like this. Well, gaming with voiceovers. There are a couple of things I may, like I said, if it calms down, there's 1 or 2 things I've had on the back burner for a while, but I just haven't got around to doing it. But I'll do my best to do it because I do have subscribers. Subscribers count has been the same, and I kind of owe it to them to put something out, because otherwise, what's the point of subscribing to me? Which I will always be eternally grateful for. Okay, that's done. Right, so that was just me updating you. It's taken 20 minutes. I didn't want to go rabble on too long. Fingers crossed, I might throw something together. I've been getting heavily into my anime, heavily into my manga. I've read the entirety of Dan. Dan is quite possibly amazing. Got a bit confusing around the 130, chapter 130-ish, with all the aliens, but that'll be season 3 or 4 of the anime when it comes out. Season 3 next year, apparently. No, season 3 2027, apparently. So that's it. Enough for me. Thank you very much for sticking around. Thank you very much for watching this. I really appreciate that the subscribers are still there. Please bear with me. Like I said, I personally haven't been going through anything, but someone else has, and it's kind of affected the amount of stuff I can put out and my inspiration to do anything. So fingers crossed, end of the year, start of next year, I'll be more inspired. I can but hope. Okay, buds, thanks very much indeed. I shall see you next time. Love you loads. Bye bye.